Good morning. How are you today? Welcome to a new program. Program 1164. Okay. Wow. Which means we have 37 programs left, right? 36 programs. Well, when I finish this program today, we will have 36 programs left to reach 1,200. That's the cutoff date. But in any case, we have a lot of things to do today. It's a pleasure to be here. I wish you the best with your English, but let's get going. Vaughan World, page 68. Aki Morita, yes. Aki Morita is a Japanese engineer. He's the head of the quality department at Honda, the car division, not the motorcycle division, the car division of Honda. And he is the head of quality, the quality control manager, the quality assurance manager. And he spends a lot of time within the factory and a lot of time with the suppliers, with the Honda suppliers, making sure that the quality standards are followed, adhered to, and they complied with. To comply with, cumplir con. To adhere to, adherirse a. Ya adhesión a algo, all right? To adhere to, or to follow, seguir, las reglas de calidad, las normas, to follow the quality norms, to follow the quality guidelines, las directrices de calidad, guidelines. That's his job. And he's very good. He's 39 years old, he's married, he has 2 children, I think age 11 and 9, but I don't remember. His wife doesn't work. His wife is a housewife and a mother, and a very good housewife and a very good mother. And Aki spends all of his time working, 70 hours a week perhaps. He works all the time. But Aki Morita has been offered, he is, in the Japanese company, if they make you an offer, you say yes. So it's more than an offer, it's perhaps an order. And they want to transfer him to Louisiana in the United States. Louisiana is a relatively small state in the United States between Texas and Mississippi. And the Mississippi River comes down from Minnesota. It passes down between Iowa and Illinois, between Missouri and Illinois, between Arkansas and Tennessee, and finally, between Louisiana and Mississippi. The Mississippi River flows into the Gulf of Mexico, or as Donald Trump calls it now, the Gulf of America. and so he will go to Louisiana to be the quality control manager for the first factory that Honda has in the United States. The factory is currently under construction. Actualmente bajo construcción, se dice en inglés, o sea, en construcción. It's currently under construction, and it will be completed, I think, in 1 year or 7 months. And in the meantime, Aki needs to go and to start preparing the quality systems and also the suppliers, to choose the suppliers together with the production manager. So Aki Morita is quality manager, and the production manager will work together to identify key suppliers, proveedores clave, key, como llave, key suppliers for the new factory in Louisiana. Some of the parts and components will come from Japan, yes, from Osaka. But many will be locally supplied. Yes, they will be locally supplied. Local content, contenido local, local content. So it's a very important job for Aki, and it's a big surprise for him. It's a very big surprise. And he's worried about his wife and children. Aki speaks some English. His English is not too bad, but his wife doesn't speak a word of English. His wife doesn't speak a word. Fijaos, no habla una palabra. Claro, aquí decís no habla ni una palabra, pero la palabra ni en inglés sobra, no es necesaria. No es necesario. She doesn't speak a word of English, and his 2 children really don't speak English either. They take English classes. They have English class at school, but it's not a serious English class to allow them to gain a good skill. So it's a big decision for Aki. And Louisiana is 12,000 kilometers maybe from, or more. Yeah, it's a long way. And so it's a big decision, but he has to say yes. If he doesn't say yes, he probably won't lose his job, but he will never move up in the organization. And he's only 39. I mean, Aki Morita is a type of guy that maybe by the time he's 50, he could be the managing director of Honda, or at least the general manager of the car division. So going to the United States, and the time he will spend is at least 3 years, maybe more. At least 3 years. So, earlier today, Aki had a meeting with his boss and his boss's boss, and they spoke to him about this possibility or this need to go to Louisiana. And so he decided to go home and tell his wife. How? ¿Qué le voy a decir a mi mujer? Hola, darling, vamos a Louisiana. We're going, Louisiana? All right. Well, he got home, and the first thing he decided not to speak. Well, when he got home, she was in her children's bedroom helping them with their homework. So he decided to sit down and read the encyclopedia, and he opened it to Louisiana. All right. And that's what he's doing now. And the article talked about the city of New Orleans, of course. New Orleans is the most important city in Louisiana. And it talked about the history of Louisiana. Louisiana has a very interesting history. Spanish history, French history, and in the 1930s and 1940s, a lot of corruption. Louisiana. It's an interesting state. Yeah. And the only thing that Aki found interesting was the section about the beautiful plantation homes. Along the Mississippi River, on the Mississippi side, not on the Louisiana side, there's a town called Natchez. Natchez, como nachos, pero Natchez. Natchez, con Z, pero TCH, Natchez. It's probably the most interesting city to visit plantation homes. The homes from before the Civil War, like Scarlett O'Hara and the plantation homes. You go to Natchez. And the article talked about that, a town called Natchez. And he thought that his wife, my wife will enjoy visiting these towns. When he had finished the article about Louisiana, he sat down to have dinner with his family. It was 8:30. His wife noticed that he was quiet during the meal, but she didn't say anything. She simply thought that he had had a hard day at the office. He was quiet and pensive. Yes. Besides, he was often quiet and pensive. So, Aki Morita hasn't told his wife or children yet that he's planning to go, that they will probably go to Louisiana. In fact, he will postpone his decision to talk to her until the following day, Saturday. We'll come back to that tomorrow, no, but probably the day after tomorrow. Okay, let's get going with expressions. No. Before expressions, no. Questions. El verbo auxiliar. Okay. ¿Dónde vive Marta? Where does Marta live? ¿Qué pinta el verbo to do aquí? ¿Por qué hay que decir where does Marta live? ¿Por qué no decimos where lives Marta? ¿Dónde vive Marta? ¿Por qué no? ¿Se entiende? Where lives Marta? You say this, no problem. Everybody understands. But we say, where does Marta live? Why? I don't know. It was crazy. Por algún motivo? For some reason, in the evolution of the English language, the concept of the auxiliary verb came into the language. And so the auxiliary verb, where does she live? And last year, where did she live? Next year, where will she live? Lately, ¿dónde ha vivido desde que nació? ¿En cuántos sitios? Where has she lived? Etc. Has, will, does, did, do. Where do you live? These are auxiliary verbs. And they are necessary in the questions, direct questions. Direct questions. And now, if the subject exists, if there isn't a subject, there's no auxiliary verb. There's no auxiliary verb. For example, ¿Quién vino? Who came? Vino Pedro. Did Peter come? ¿Cuándo vino Pedro? When did Peter come? ¿Cómo vino? How did he come? ¿Por qué vino? Why did he come? Pedro o he, porque ya tenemos identificado el sujeto. Entonces hay un verbo auxiliar siempre. Pero lo primero es, al final, ¿quién vino? Finally, who came? Only Pedro. When did he come? When did he come? Why did he come? How did he come? All right. By car, by bus? How did he come? Okay. Will he come tomorrow? Did he come yesterday? Does he come every day? Would he come if you paid him? Could he come if he were sick? Etc. These are very auxiliary verbs. So, but remember, when there's no, si no hay sujeto identificado, no hay quien auxiliar. Nadie necesita auxilio. ¿Quién vino? Who came? ¿Qué pasó? What happened? What happened? Porque no sabemos todavía, estamos buscando saber lo que pasó, lo que ocurrió. What happened? Hubo un incendio. There was a fire. ¿Cuándo ocurrió? When did it? It is el fuego, el incendio. When did it happen? All right. So remember this. Who came? What happened? Which? I think these are about the only two cases I can remember right now. But in any case, the auxiliary verb, and you need to practice this because Spanish people have trouble formulating questions. Yes. This is a pencil. Question. What's this? I live in Madrid. Where do you live? I grew up in the United States. Where did you grow up? I'll come here tomorrow at 9 o'clock. What time will you come here tomorrow? Mastering the interrogative. And a very good way to master the interrogative is to make sentences in the affirmative and then design the question that brings out the affirmative. For example, Spain is in Europe. Where is Spain? There are 47 million people in Spain. Question. How many people are there in Spain? So es hacerlo al revés. Decir la respuesta y luego formular la pregunta que sacaría dicha respuesta. All right. What language do the people in Spain speak Spanish. What language do the people in Spain speak? What language do the people in Canada speak? What language do the people in Japan speak? Etc., etc. And to practice, practice, practice. All right. Expressions, my friends. Page 185 at the top. Not at the bottom, nor in the middle, but at the top. Out of order. Fuera de servicio. Averiado. Yeah, out of order. Yeah. La máquina de café está fuera de servicio. The coffee machine's out of order. I need a coffee. Yeah, it's out of order. Out of order. Fuera de orden, literalmente. Out of order. Yes. The next one, out of the blue. I like this expression. I use this expression a lot. Out of the blue. Fuera de lo azul. Literalmente. Out of the blue. Inesperado, de la nada. No sé, apareció de la nada Pedro. Y Pedro, ¿qué haces tú? He came out of the blue. An idea came out of the blue. Yes, sucedió de manera totalmente inesperada. It happened totally out of the blue. Después de 16 años, ella apareció de la nada. After 16 years, she turned up out of the blue. Yeah, out of the blue means a big surprise. ¿Y tú qué haces? Tú eres Juanita Bennett. She just turned up out of the blue, suddenly. A big surprise. The third one, out of the woods. We have two words in English for bosque. We have forest, foresta, forestal, forest, and we have woods. Casi siempre con ese, woods. Entrar en el bosque. To go into the woods, to enter the woods. Salir del bosque, to go out of the woods. Yeah, the woods. To cross the woods. The forest. Forest suele ser más grande. Forest, big. La selva negra de Alemania, the black forest. But you go into the woods. Into the woods. Now, out of the woods means fuera del peligro. Fuera del peligro. Yes. ¿Crees que por fin estamos fuera de peligro? ¿O sucederá algo más? Do you think we're finally out of the woods? Que hemos salido del bosque de los problemas, de la selva problemática. We're out of the woods. Yes, do you think we're out of the woods? Yes. El médico dijo que él estaba fuera de peligro. The doctor said he was out of the woods. All right. To be out of the woods. Woods. The forest, the woods. I always tell a joke. How far can a dog run into the woods? ¿Sabes? ¿A cuánto? ¿Hasta dónde puede entrar un perro en el bosque? No, no sabes. How far can a dog run into the woods? Only halfway, solo mitad. Después está saliendo, no está entrando. ¿Entiendes? Only halfway. Because after halfway, the dog's not running into the woods. The dog's running out of the woods. So remember this. How far can a dog run into the woods? Only halfway. Because after halfway, the dog is running out of the woods, not into the woods. Okay, that's into, out of, entrar y salir, claro. Into, out of. The woods. To be out of the woods is estar fuera del peligro. I'm out of the woods. And finally, out of this world, fuera de este mundo. Oh, esta clase es fuera de este mundo. This class is out of this world. Genial. Yeah, de muerte. Es algo de otro mundo, es de otro mundo. It's out of this world. O sea, tan bueno que no es ni parte de este mundo. It's so good. El festival de música fue algo de otro mundo. The music festival was out of this world. Y se dice con esa entonación, out of this world. It's incredible. Incredible. It was out of this world, yeah. So, we have finished another. Is another. How much time do we have left, Marta? I think we have quite a bit of time. We still have quite a bit of time, so we can start with gain fluency. On page 97, at the top. Not at the bottom, nor in the middle, but at the top. ¿Aprenderán eso? You think? Okay. At the top, page 97, paragraph 891. It's funny how his face lights up anytime you mention the word Italy. He's been wanting to open an office in Italy ever since I met him 20 years ago. He says the market is perfect for us. All right, maybe. It's funny how his face lights up. It's funny how his face lights up. It's funny how his face lights up. Anytime you mention the word Italy. All right. It's funny. It's funny has two meanings. One meaning is es gracioso. All right. Pero en este caso no. También es curioso. Es curioso cómo se le ilumina la cara. It's funny how his face lights up. To light is encender. To light a cigarette. To light a cigarette. But to light up is se ilumina. Sobre todo una cara. It's funny. Es curioso cómo se le ilumina la cara cada vez que Mencionas la palabra Italia. Okay. It's funny how his face lights up. Anytime you mention, siempre que menciones, anytime you mention the word Italy. Yes, the Italian market. Oh, Italy, yeah. His face lights up. Italy? Italy? Yeah, all right. He's been wanting to open an office in Italy ever since I met him 20 years ago. I met him 20 years ago. I met him, Pablo, I met him 20 years ago. And ever since then means desde aquel momento, ever since then, he has wanted to open an office in Italy. Okay, fine. He says the market is perfect for us. The Italian market is perfect for us. We'll make a killing. Nos forraremos en Italia. We'll make a killing. El mercado nos es perfecto. The market is perfect for us. So but for him, not for me. I don't necessarily agree. But it's funny how his face lights up every time, or any time you mention, or I mention, the word Italy. His face lights up. Ever since I met him 20 years ago. I mean, he's been wanting, lleva 20 años queriendo abrir una oficina, una delegación ahí. He has been wanting to open an office in Italy for the past 20 years. Well, ever since I met him 20 years ago. He says the market is perfect for us. Okay. He's been wanting, lleva tiempo, desde que le conozco, desde que le conocí hace 20 años, ever since I met him 20 years ago. El ever es opcional, pero recomendable, muy recomendable, porque es más enfático desde el mismo día que le conocí. Ever since I met him 20 years ago, he's been wanting to open. He's been wanting to open an office in Italy. We still don't have an office in Italy. And for 20 years, he says, we need to have an office in Italy. The market is perfect for us. We'll be very successful in Italy. But we still don't have an office in Italy. And it's funny how his face lights up anytime we mention the word Italy. All right. And he doesn't speak Italian, okay? But in any case, page 97, the second paragraph 892. The fact that I don't want to open in Portugal this year doesn't mean I'm not interested in the Portuguese market. Otro mercado aquí. I'm very interested, but we're not ready. Our organization isn't ready. Okay, the fact that I don't want to open in Portugal this year doesn't mean that I'm not interested in the Portuguese market. Okay. El mercado portugués esta vez, no el italiano. Okay. El hecho que no quiero abrir en Portugal, the fact that I don't want to open in Portugal this year doesn't mean I'm not interested in the Portuguese market. Ojo, no significa que no esté interesado. It doesn't mean I'm not interested in the Portuguese market, in the Portuguese in the Portuguese market. I'm very interested, yeah. But we're not ready. We are not ready. We're not ready. Our organization isn't ready to open in another country. We're not ready. I'm interested in Portugal. I'm very interested in Portugal. I'm very interested in the Portuguese market. But our organization isn't ready to open outside of Spain. We need to concentrate on the Spanish market. We need to focus on the Spanish market. And we need to grow in Spain first and to consolidate our operations in Spain. And also, the people in the organization are not necessarily the right people for international expansion. We need to bring in other people who are experts in international expansion, especially in the Portuguese market. We need people from Portugal to help us open in the Portuguese market. So the fact that I don't want to open in Portugal this year doesn't mean I'm not interested in the Portuguese market. I'm very interested, but we're not ready. Our organization isn't ready. Okay? All right. One more, I think. Tenemos un minuto. How much time? 1 minute? Page 97, the third paragraph. Did you say Jimmy just turned 2? How tall is he? Have you measured him? When a child turns 2, they're half their adult height. You should check his height at home tonight. Okay, I'm going to come back tomorrow. And I'm going to continue with this paragraph. This is an interesting paragraph. And perhaps you will learn something from this paragraph about Jimmy. Jimmy just turned 2. Jimmy acaba de cumplir los 2 años, el chico. Tiene 2 añitos de edad. But I'll be back tomorrow to talk about Jimmy and many more things.